As the property market in China's major cities gradually enters the cold winter mode, the once hot real estate market is now in an unprecedented downturn. The place where Guangzhou house prices fell the most is Zhengqing district, with a drop of 60%. The first example is the country garden Genting property, which has no school and no subway. The opening price was as high as US $5,800 per square meter. Now, the second-hand transaction price is about US $2,600, a drop of 56%. The occupancy rate of the entire property has only reached 35%. The property owners lost a lot of money. The second one is Yushi Shijai with the subway just outside the door. The opening price per square meter was US $3,960. Now it's just US $1,700, a 57% drop. The third one is Delioshi Garden, opened at $2,830 per square meter, and now it only costs $850. A house of 100 square meters and $280,000 can now be sold for $80,000, which is terrible and cheaper than a house in a small county town. Guangdong, as China's largest economic province, is also facing a downturn. It's reported that recently in northern Guangzhou, the transaction price of a property was only about 150,000 yuan. These low-cost houses are located at the junction of Guangzhou and Qingyuan. Although it belongs to Qingyuan, it is only more than 60 kilometers away from Guangzhou. If you drive, you can get there quickly. Due to the low prices and no purchase restrictions, many people who could not afford to buy a house or were unable to buy a house due to the purchase restriction policy chose to buy a house here. However, the once hot real estate speculation has become a disaster zone where house prices have plummeted. House prices have plummeted from more than $1,000 per square meter to $280, and speculators have seen their assets evaporate. This is not a virtual number game, but a real wealth reduction. Some people question that if houses dozens of kilometers away from Guangzhou are so ridiculously cheap, can the house prices in small counties and towns still be maintained? The plummeting house prices in the suburbs expose the fragility of the past reliance on real estate to drive the economy. When the population inflow decreases and the industry support is insufficient, the bubble of the real estate economy will naturally burst. This is not only a problem in Guangzhou, but also a challenge that many cities across the country will face. Some netizens pointed out that the current real estate market is attracting homebuyers through policy measures such as lowering down payments and interest rates, but behind it there may be a temptation to deceive the last batch of homebuyers, and the overall market outlook is not optimistic. Whether a house can maintain its value depends on three factors. In the long term, it depends on the population. Our population is aging, right? Then exports are also affected. The global economy is in recession and income is falling sharply. Nearly 900,000 people in Guangzhou have left Guangdong, which means they are unemployed and cannot find a job, right? In the medium term, it depends on income. In the short term, it depends on policies. When the real estate industry is doing well, all negative policies can also be regarded as positive. During the real estate downturn, lowering down payments and lowering real estate interest rates have no effect. The down payment for real estate used to be 40%, but it was finally reduced to 30%. Now, 15% is enough. Lowering down payments and lowering interest rates are just tempting the last wave of people to buy houses because the general real estate trend is no longer working. Whether it's high-end residential or ordinary commercial housing, they are cooling down rapidly. Even if developers offer an increased discounts, it's still difficult to attract buyers, and houses sold at 50% off are still uninterested. This not only reflects the indifference of the market, but also triggers reflection on the irrational expansion in the past. The situation in Shenzhen is also the same. On September 8th, an affordable housing project in Qinghai, Shenzhen broke news, shocking the whole city. 3,746 units were launched, but only 25 units were sold in the end, accounting for only 0.67%. The once popular Shanyu Bay non-affordable housing project still had no one to buy it despite the price of US $6,000 per square meter. Not only Shenzhen, but also Xiamen has launched affordable housing priced at 40 to 50% off the market price, but the sales rate is only 6%. In contrast, demand exceeded supply during the same period last year, and market popularity fell sharply in just 1 year. The primary reason is that Xiamen's housing prices continue to fall, and the attractiveness of low-priced affordable housing has been greatly weakened. At the same time, factors such as the remote location of affordable housing, too many restrictions, and difficulty reselling in the future have also led to low buyer interest. Another netizen posted a video saying that housing prices in Nanshan, Shenzhen have plummeted by 70%. The property he filmed has lowered the housing price expectations of the entire Nanshan district. In the past, many houses here cost around US 10,000 per square meter, but now they only cost around US 6,000. As one of the core areas of Shenzhen, Nanshan has always gathered many high-tech enterprises and multinational companies. It has the Shenzhen High-Tech Industrial Park. Technology giants such as Tencent and Huawei have established headquarters or branches here, driving the rapid growth of the economy. Therefore, it has attracted many highly educated and high-income talents. Moreover, Nanshan is an economic center and a gathering place for cultural and educational resources. Housing demand has been soaring in recent years, and housing prices have continued to rise. But this year, an abnormal phenomenon has occurred. The price of new houses in Qinghai, Nanshan, and Shenzhen have dropped significantly. According to my friends, the property behind me, which was once considered a prime location, used to cost as much as US 8,500 per square meter, but now it can be bought for just over US 6,000. The price of houses near the subway station has dropped to around US 4,200. Such changes make people pay more attention to future housing price trends. Some bloggers have noticed that there has been a shocking phenomenon in Shenzhen's apartment market recently. The news of the sharp depreciation of real estate prices in Shenzhen is shocking. Nanshan, the central area of Shenzhen, the price of second-hand houses in Nanshan used to be as high as more than 10,000 US dollars per square meter, but now there are subway properties for only 4,200 US dollars. The price of this property used to be about US 10,000 per square meter, but now it has dropped to more than US 5,000, which has directly wiped out half a lifetime of savings for many people. This apartment is very close to the subway and it takes less than 5 minutes to walk to it. The subway goes directly to the famous attractions nearby and the transportation is very convenient. However, the supporting facilities are impeccable, even with such a good location. The condition of this apartment is still unsatisfactory. Why? Because it's an apartment. Today's apartment market is really dangerous. Residential houses are discounted by 80 or 90%. For developers who are strapped for funds, it's possible to offer a 50% discount on apartments. I am afraid that there will be more and more apartments with such deep discounts in the future. Another blogger pointed out that it was unexpected that the most angry people were not the developers, but the owners who had bought houses before, now that house prices have dropped. Recently, there was a real estate project in Shenzhen. The houses in the first and second phases were sold at a unit price of US $5,940 per square meter. Then, everyone's enthusiasm for buying houses disappeared this year, so the developer set the unit price at US $2,970 per square meter to quickly sell the third phase and get back the funds. Unexpectedly, the event attracted not home buyers but old owners who had bought houses before. They gathered together, ran to the sales office to hold banners and shout slogans and question the developer, saying, "We bought it at US $5,940 per square meter. Now you sell it at US $2,970 per square meter, and we have a net loss of US $39,600 per house. That is all our hard-earned money. Today, you must explain to us. You have cheated us of so much money. Where is your conscience? Today, I give you two options, either raise the price or compensate us for the difference." Unexpectedly, the developer was not convinced and responded confidently. As a commodity, houses follow the laws of the market, which will rise and fall. For example, if the value of the mobile phone you bought has depreciated, why don't you go to someone who sells the mobile phone to make up the difference? You lost money buying stocks, why don't you go and make a scene on the exchange? Why should we pay compensation if the price of the house has been reduced? Do you think any of them is right? Outsiders have also observed that in the past 2 years, more and more people going to Beijing for development no longer choose Tianjin as their destination. Tianjin attracted a large amount of spillover demand in the past due to its relatively low housing prices, but now the situation has changed. It's reported that Tianjin's property market relies on spillover demand from Beijing, But as the demand for home purchases decreases, Tianjin's real estate market is gradually going downhill. In 2016, Tianjin's housing market was once extremely hot, especially in Wuqing district, which is adjacent to Beijing. The housing price rose rapidly from less than $1,400 per square meter to $3,500. However, this wave of enthusiasm did not last long. As investors evacuated, house prices began to fall sharply. By the second half of 2021, house prices in Wuqing district had plummeted, and the prices of many properties had dropped from more than $20,000 per square meter to $636 or even lower. Today, the real estate bubble in Tianjin, Wuqing, and other places has faded, and many houses are unsold. For example, the Capital International Peninsula in Wuqing district sold for $2,970 per square meter in 2017, but now it has fallen to around $630. If ordinary people used all their wealth to buy it, they would now lament that they would be stuck in a house for the rest of their lives. Even more exaggerated is that a platform shows that a 100 square meter top floor 3-bedroom undecorated house in Rongjin Garden Community has a total price of only US $24,000, equivalent to US $240 per square meter, a down payment of US $4,200, and a monthly payment of only US $91. Even so, such low-priced properties still struggle to attract buyers. It's over, it's over, it's over, it's completely over. The new home market in Tianjin has entered a panic selling stage. The property behind me was selling for $99,000 2 months ago, and it dropped to $85,000 a month ago. And just last night, the latest news showed that the starting price has dropped to $73,000. I'm a real estate seller, not a fraudster, but this price change is really surprising. The price changes every day, not to mention the buyers, and I can't even stand it. Today's developers cut prices without logic or warning, and no one cares about the losses of the old owners who bought houses before. But as long as the price is low enough, people's greed will make many people unable to help but want to buy it. Now, the starting price of a 78 square meter 2-bedroom apartment is US $73,000. The down payment is only US $14,000, and the monthly repayment is about US $300, almost the same as buying a car. Has the Tianjin property market dropped so low? In addition, the decline in housing prices has caused many investors to suffer huge losses. A netizen bought a property in Wuqing district in 2017. At that time, he thought that although Wuqing was a suburb of Tianjin, he had a real estate certificate in Tianjin after all, and he could settle down by accumulating points. In the future, his children would also have the opportunity to take the college entrance examination in Tianjin. This seemed to be a worthwhile investment. Who would have thought that the house price would fall all the way in the few years after buying the house? Wuqing district was originally a suburb of Tianjin, and the house he bought was located in the marginal area of Wuqing district. The supporting facilities were scarce, and the transportation was inconvenient, which led to the continuous decline in house prices. This neighbor had to bear the mortgage. Although the house had not been lived in, he still had to repay the loan and pay property fees on time every month. At first, he hoped that housing prices would rise in another year or two. However, the reality is always disappointing. What awaits is not appreciation, but greater depreciation. Each additional year of mortgage repayment means one more year of interest paid to the bank, and the loss of the house is also increasing year by year. Finally, he sold the house for $56,000 this year, while the original purchase price was $210,000. This experience caused him to suffer heavy losses and gave him a profound lesson. Those houses that seem to have great appreciation potential, especially those that he does not plan to live in for a long time, must be extra cautious when investing. Buying a house is not about the more expensive the better. The current situation is that the more expensive the house, the worse the loss. Today, I saw a second-hand house in my friend's comment. It was just delivered not long ago. The owner reduced the price to $140,000, but it was still difficult to sell. Why? Because the prices of new houses around it also dropped. This makes people have to reflect. Why did you buy this house? Many people say that the suburbs are not worth buying, but the total price of houses in the suburbs is low, 70, 80, and 140,000. Even if the price of a house worth 10,000 US dollars drops by half, the maximum loss is only 30 or 40,000 US dollars. What about expensive houses? For example, if a house worth 700 or 800,000 US dollars falls by 20 to 30 points, it will lose more than 100,000 US dollars. It's not easy to make money nowadays, so when buying a house, you must do what you can, and don't be fooled by agents or salespeople who say you can get it right in one step. A house with a higher price may not necessarily maintain its value, but may lose more.
不一定保值，可能赔的越多。
In addition, at present, the second-hand housing market in Tianjin is also weak. The only rising indicators are the number of houses with price cuts and the transaction cycle. According to data, in July 2024, the transaction price of second-hand houses in Tianjin fell by 7.3% month-on-month. The transaction volume fell by 21.7%. The number of houses with price increases fell by 22.6%. And the number of people and times of house viewings also fell sharply. Why are house prices in Tianjin so bleak? Analysts believe that there are two main reasons. First, the population continues to decline. 2016, Tianjin's population reached 14.43 million, but by the end of 2023, the permanent population had dropped to 13.64 million. Without population support, the real estate market is difficult to stabilize. Second, Tianjin's industrial development is weak, lacking large enterprises and pillar industries, resulting in a decline in the city's attractiveness.